wait a minute. Wait a minute. You wait a minute, lady. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. Sorry. Zoom. Let's see.
Bring your seat up?
I don't think so. But
I feel like we should
it would have been a lot to rewrap. I'm just gonna wrap pictures. Oh, we are live. You missed the thumbs up. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed the cue. But at this point, you vibing with me if you're on episode part 3. So it's all good. Let me drink to this one, Sergeant. So, would you like a green tea?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. There you go. All right. So, we kind of talked about society's idea of a man, men, and their roles in the household and how it differs from women, and our inputs on what those should look like. And pretty much it's pretty diverse. I think that everyone can agree on it being something that fits them and their relationship and what they think is best for their household. I'm still all agreeing for Steve Harvey with his 85-15, but I definitely don't want an 85-15 inside of my household. I definitely want my partner to be able to pull in places where he see I'm weak, and it may not be weak in strength, but maybe not as knowledgeable in those areas, or he does a better job than me, so why not allow him to guide that? And then for him to be able to put his pride or ego to the side and be able to do the same thing. Like, I dated a guy who wasn't good with money management. So if I allowed him to take responsibility of paying certain bills, they may not have got paid on time because of the way he managed money. And while a lot of people think it was a bitch nigga move for him to give me his entire check, it actually worked for us. He gave it to me, and I taught him, okay, this is how you budget things. These are your bills for the month. This is how you can kind of map it out where you're not having one bill pay all your one bill pay all your stuff, one check pay all your bills, and then you use this to party. Like, kind of teaching him a way to kind of strategize. So like this. Strategize. So it benefited us. So instead of us constantly getting things late, and because I had better credit, everything was in my name. It allowed for him to have the opportunity to learn and be able to come to a place where he was able to do it without me. So people like, oh, you give your nigga allowance? No, it's not that I give him allowance. It's that he gave me his check. I showed him how to be able to balance the money out appropriately. Technically, this is how I do it. I give myself a certain amount of money I spend for the week. Once that's out, that's a wrap. I can dap into other things, but I know that if, at minimum, if I spend this, I'm still going to be good. Now, if I tweak that a little bit, I'm still going to be good. But if I go ahead and spend my max, I'm really fucked up. Now I'm dabbing into other things that money should have been gone somewhere else. And so over time, he's now a person who's able to use that and apply it to his lifestyle. So if you are able to just understand your partners, their strengths, their weaknesses, or where it is that you're best seated to be head first, then it works. What do you think? You agree?
I agree, but I would say sometimes women may come to men and try to teach them things when they're not even receptive. So I feel like if you say, are you receptive? Just like opinions. Just like I would ask a person, I'm like, do you wish for me to input or not? And they'll be like, no, I ain't really asked for it. But yeah, because it's like sometimes we talk to respond, not talk to, or what would they say? Right, you know what I'm saying? You don't even know what's on their mind, because sometimes like my sister called me and just to get stuff off her chest.
It doesn't really want your
and
input.
it doesn't really need me, but needs me on the phone.
And sometimes people are able to just talk it out, and then they come with their own solution just by being able to go through it.
Right. That's allowing the person to upgrade themselves. So it's like, if, to your point, it's like if you allow a person to want the information, then they will be way more receptive to it, instead of be like, look, nigga, you need to check these bills out, and we not receptive to that. You know what I'm saying? At all. I'm not. But it's like other people maybe, but if you ask.
It kind of brings me, we're going to get ready to jump into the biblical terms a little bit, but it kind of gets me to the idea of how people say you shouldn't like live together before marriage, you know, or you should wait to be married before you live together. And when I think of that, it's kind of like I can have conversations with my partners about our strengths and weaknesses, or I look at them and be like, oh, okay, they look like they got it together. You know what I'm saying? He wears this, he has this type of car, you know, his phone ain't never off, so I'm thinking that he knows how to manage money. But then once we move together, it's a whole nother, it's a different type of reality. So regardless if you are receptive or not, I feel like certain parts of the relationship, we can definitely take that aspect. But when it starts to be able to join finances or bank accounts or things of that nature, you got to kind of be a little more willing to have that conversation, even if you don't want to have that conversation.
But it starts, I feel like it starts early. Like the little things early will let you know if you can, or by the time you get to that, it'd be way more receptive than if you just flat out come to him when everything's tied together. So it's like, now I know he's open. Now I know I can talk to him like this. And then he's open to be a changed person.
You're absolutely right. That's exactly why I take my time now. Back then, that's why I'm engaged twice. Moving a little too fast. Not knowing truly who it is that I'm with and who I'm dating. They seem like great people. They just weren't the right person for me. But a lot of times, I didn't really fully get to know different dynamics of that person until we lived together. So now I want to get to know dynamics of that person prior to us being into a relationship. Because at that point, it's no point of having something that ain't gonna go nowhere.
That's real.
All right. So the Bible says that a husband, and if, like I said, I have a Christian-based belief, but I also have other religions that kind of support who I am as a person. I don't want to offend anybody. You're more than welcome to choose to speak on your religions or your beliefs or your culture. You don't have to agree with what it is that I'm saying. But the Bible says that a husband should love and lead his wife like Christ loved the church, and be willing to make sacrifices that are necessary. You guys agree or disagree?
I agree, but I feel like that went out the window a long time ago.
It went out the window. Why do you think it went out the window?
It's just different now. Like we said, women are taking more of the front seat, and men are taking more of the passenger or the back seat.
Okay. All right, I know you got a little different as far as beliefs as me, so what's your input?
I really wanted to address that real quick. You say everything different now, but it's like everybody's free now, so now we got to come back to making the same decisions that we once made in order to make it work again. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know what I'm saying, everybody free to express themselves. Women are free, you know what I'm saying, they free to make their own decisions. They getting bread now. Everybody's even, almost, right? Now we got to come back and make the same decisions that kept our families together before to make them stick together now. So I just had to address that real quick. It just stuff be popping in my mind. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like that's also why marriages back in the day are, you've been married 30, 45, 50 years married, and now you getting married nowadays 1 year, 2 year, because it's not the same.
No, it's
Not like it need to get back to those old day dynamics.
But it comes with the foundation
and everything. Yep, it's just
go ahead, Kevin, because I'm waiting for you.
It's never going to get back to those days. We got these phones right here. People want constant contact all day long, so it's never going to be like it was in the 50s. Like like I said, I saw a comedian. He was like, Chris Rock said, "Yo, if I died, my father wouldn't know I was dead till he got home that night." It's just not going. It's just not that type of times anymore. We always in constant contact, no matter what you do.
Technology has taken over everyone. Like,
These people
whether you
FaceTime
wanna
you
be
in the shower. Alright, talk to me. I mean,
Yeah, so like
constantly available.
Hey, this is what I mean by getting back to it, right? So let's get back to it. Back to making the decisions and being honest with ourselves. Like I said, women can scroll through, find any man, right? It's more prevalent now than ever. Men can scroll, swipe left, swipe right. We need to get back to making solid decisions. We'll be like, look, I'm not on that. You know what I'm saying? If you can get it and reject social media and be like, look, I'm with this woman. I don't need to entertain all these women. You know what I'm saying? In a perfect world, I understand what you're saying. It's never going to do that. But it's like, if we got the concept to kind of make solid decisions, it's being like, all right, I'm good on social media for those reasons.
But you can choose how to program your mindset in regards to how you act. And I feel as though, like for me, I still deal with my insecurities as a woman, as far as how I look or you know, how I represent myself when I'm out in public and things of that nature. But if I take the time to work on those certain things, I don't seek certain men for certain type of attention. And once I put myself in that predicament to be able to make those things a void in my life, then I'm able to program myself to kind of act differently and be able to receive what it is that I'm putting out. Or I attract opposite attracts.
Right. Agreed.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So did I address your question?
Yes. You can dress whatever you like. You know what I'm
I'm not, well, I remember, because when I was on the podcast, I said something. I don't know what specifically stuck out to you. I don't know if you want to talk on that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I was basically saying that all men, you know what I'm saying, to truly be kings of, and this might, put it. I was saying that men, we should take on all the responsibility. If we looking for someone special, right? We should take on all the responsibility, and that's to say, we take on everything because the right one will take it away from us. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you find yours. It's like, I'm taking on the world, I'm taking on this, I got this, I got that, I got this, and I'm out here hustling, going to work, being a black man, doing all this, and it's like the right one to come and take from you and give to you. Take the responsibility away that needs to be, and leave you with your peace. That's how I found my queen.
And see, that goes back to a man being a protector, a provider, and being able to profess his love, right? So you have to allow for your woman to be able to remove certain things from you and bring your peace to you, but you also have to do the same thing. And to me, that's a part of protecting and providing.
Right.
She's protecting your mental state, your emotional state, your physical state. Maybe not be physically like, oh, okay, whatever, but she can protect you from the world. And when I say that, I mean like in a sense of I would never let another person approach my man about anything. Like, and if they do, he already knows about it. So I'm already going to have a side comment. Hey, we about to go out to such and such. I know usually I see X, Y, and Z when I go to these type of events. You going with me? I want you to kind of have an idea. Now, he may not care, but if I feel like the history is important for him to know, then it's going to be said. So when we go out, that's my way of protecting him. So when that man decided to come up and he want to be drunk, yeah, I used to fuck your bitch. Yeah, I know you, Tim, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to be able to protect your, and it doesn't just mean you physically having the muscle, but a man should be able to protect, they're able to provide. The provider is not just financially, but like you said, providing that space of peace.
Right.
Providing that space where they feel comfortable, women, for your man to be vulnerable. Right. Things of like that nature.
So I've actually tried that once before. Like, I'm built on stuff like that. Like, I feel like if you give somebody enough to where they can make a solid decision for themselves whether they want to pick up your bullshit or not, then it relieves you of having to worry about, well, I did this for you. No, I told you it was up from jump. You made the decision to continue to pursue knowing what was set in front of you. Didn't change. So I've done that before. Hey, guess what? You know, we about to go to this party. There may be some niggas in here that I don't fuck. Just so you know, you have the option to go or not. But I want you to be at least comfortable enough. Now, even though doing that, it still doesn't give that comfortable feeling. Mm-hmm. You know, it's still that, well, if they hug you or they talk to you. But I've also learned that also doing that also gives a man the option to decide or pre-decide on what he can deal with, because he's like, well, if she's comfortable,
don't throw me in the line.
yeah, if she's comfortable enough to be in a room with a bunch of niggas that she slept with and then bring me around like da-da-da-da. But I'm like, hey, look, but I told you ahead of the game, so you're aware. Now, if you want me to stay home, I might not, but I'll also consider it, because at least you're acknowledging what I said to you and you understand what I'm saying. I'm not going to force you to be in a predicament like that, because there are some men who can't handle that. Mm-hmm. Rather than being like, oh, okay, this is her past, I'm solid enough, and it could be maybe where I didn't make it to where he understood that he had that position to where he didn't have to worry about things like that. Mm-hmm. At the same time, like you said, I can't build a man to decide what he gonna hold against me if I don't let it go already.
And sometimes those type of things bring in insecurities. and then we start having insecurities. You start getting the bumping of the heads, and then it starts making it a lot harder for us to kind of go into those roles where submission is necessary. Does anyone think that it's important for a woman to submit to her man?
See,
They got real quiet.
That's a whole nother
I
topic.
was
Hold on
gonna
now.
Yeah.
I feel like
that's why people take that Bible verse completely wrong.
Destroy it.
Right. And we
Because
can
literally respect. Because if I respect you, I'm gonna be able to listen and submit to you. Submission is not you controlling me. It's me respecting what you say. Me respecting what you do. And that's where people get it twisted.
So submission
I'm sorry, if I gotta step in and do the X, Y, and Z, I'm sorry. That submission is not gonna be it.
But see, that's your level of respect that you've lost for that person. Because you now feel as though they're not able to take accountability or step into the position in which they are supposed to. And because of your lack of, their lack of masculinity, you feel the need to be able to be stronger and show your more masculine side. When really you want to be more have the feminine side, but it's not.
There's a lot of black people, black women. They feel like they too independent to even need another man. It gets really fucked up in that.
I'm gonna need me.
I mean, I agree, but I'm a strong
Everybody got real quiet.
1 second, guys.
When you talk about submissive, but when we were talking about being a leader of the household and being the household, everybody had something to chime in. But the women who were supposed to be submissive ain't say shit about being submissive. It's wild. It's really wild.
I don't want to submit.
I don't mind. But are you able to do the things I need to do?
I'm submissive even when I shouldn't be. But because I know it's things that I'm still working on him opening up, I feel like, because I'm too aggressive. I'm real nonchalant. I got an attitude, the resting bitch face, none of that stuff. And it's just like, no, I just mean what I say, and I'm standing on that shit, and I expect you to do the same thing. But I submit even when I don't really want to, but that's just for
To help your ego.
to not only like
To end the situation.
yeah, like
Stroking your ego. That's all.
I mean, they need that at times. Just
It's
like
hard for
we
women to
need
submit
certain
after 30.
things.
When we talk about this 25, 30 thing, after 30, y'all been so independent and so too headstrong that y'all don't even want to submit no more after 30. After 25 at the time.
That ain't true.
That's why a lot of men,
I feel like this
if that's not true, why a lot of men will go to a younger woman to mold them to be what they want to 20 to 21 to 20. Oh, I'm the younger girl, they scared of the younger girl, so it's like, we can mold them. Y'all don't want to be molded. Y'all don't want to submit. Y'all don't want to be y'all want to be the head of the household. Y'all have everything to say about the head of the household, but when submissive come and everybody over here,
That's
I'm
good.
30,
Go ahead,
everybody
Sean.
saying nothing.
I'm gonna let Sean take the floor.
Falling back.
Hold on, Shay. Go ahead, Sean.
I
ahead.
was just gonna say what he said. Agreeing with what he was saying. Like a lot of men fear that. Like when a woman is dominant, a lot of men, weak men, they fear that. You know what I'm saying? They don't. So that's why they go to younger women, so they can mold them and do this and do that.
That's
You know what I'm saying?
a lot of truth in that.
I look at it as that's a weak man.
$40.
Exactly.
I want a base run. I want some rap.
I'm gonna let Famada take the floor. Go ahead, Famada. Okay.
Even though they're married, he's like, tell them you're my sister. And what did she do? She said it because he knew that if Pharaoh was down with his wife, he was going to take her and do whatever. But in that aspect, she understood. She said, I need to follow what my husband says. She's submissive. She respects her husband that much because she don't want anything happen to her family. So a lot of times we got to understand that like submission is okay. Like I've been told I'm aggressive. I've been told I say too much. I speak my mind. But it takes somebody who will be like, okay, I can understand who you are. But even it's just like it is what it is. Either you deal with it or you don't. But it's still an aspect of if you want to be in a marriage and you want to be with somebody, you have to know how to submit and have respect.
And it goes both ways.
Yeah, because I'm about to say, a lot of y'all here. A lot of y'all here.
1 second. Go ahead, Marcus.
No, I'm just saying a lot, because I'm listening to how y'all women are responding. A lot of y'all, I think you're caught up on the word submissive. And I'm not, because it's like, it's very broad, it goes everywhere. Like, all she's talking about is just respecting what he's, like, there's situations where a man might not know what's going on and whatever, and the wife, the girlfriend, whoever may understand. I'm going off you invited me out to your work's having a co-worker function, employee. I'm coming with you, but you know how your co-workers are. You gonna tell me, hey, the ladies in the office like to talk alike, you know what I'm saying? Don't talk to them. Alright, bet. I'm submitting to your advice. Like, it's a double. See, the thing is, I feel like we all, words today, I get it. Like, words mean, I argue with my boy a lot, man. That's all you got is your word. But if you hanging on to every word I'm saying as if it's life or death, we gonna argue all the time because I said it's sky's blue. Okay, it's periwinkle, my nigga. It's like the Crayola put it in the box. I didn't know the color at the time. I just said it's blue. Like, I got it. Like, but as far as like that, women act like it's just women. Men be around other. I'm not trying to submit to another man's opinion. Like, depending on where the conversation going, you ain't my big homie. You ain't my alpha. I had a boy who used to slam in that. And I'm an alpha male. That's what. First of all, in my opinion, if you are one, you don't have to announce that shit. I can look at how you moving, and I can see that shit. But you walk around here when we get around women and shit, you want. Put your chest out, like the most, and I ain't saying it's a light skin thing, but he's the lightest. No offense, it's not a color thing. I ain't just saying. You looked up, bro. But I'm just saying, like, I be like, bro, like no one ain't here. None of the dudes in here is challenging your authority, and you just poking your chest out, making yourself like a dumbass in front of people because it's that dominance thing and establishing, and that's it goes back to like that definition of men. In my opinion, stern, unwavering, and standing on what he do. A lot of the things, I actually had a conversation with Cayenne, and I don't want to get in trouble, so let me just, I can't take out of it.
You go ahead.
But we was talking about just like afterlife and things like that. And this is the thing. She was talking about people's mindset on, you know, maybe the afterlife's based off of how you feel you carried on in your life. These are things that, when she's saying, like, I mean, these things I already thought about, but just to hear it come from a woman, she just used the example of Hitler. Hitler was killing people everywhere he went. To us, we look at that shit as if it's crazy, and we like, damn, he didn't feel bad. But if afterlife is based off of how you lived your life, and Hitler never thought he did anything wrong, my man is kicking his feet up. Afterlife mimosas and everything. And I feel like as a man, any man wants to just live standing on his word and his 10. Like, I said this, and that's how I rock. Like, I'm finding myself, I get caught up in how people feel. But that's because I'm an empath. I know I can say some fucked up shit to hurt you because sometimes it's like to see people hurt. But I don't want, she was just over expressing things about her father. Like, I felt every word she said. I could have teared up. I'm trying not to because the camera's on. There's other guys here. But that's how I am. Like, I'm telling y'all as a man, like, this is what I just fought through in the room. Like, she's getting extremely emotional. I met her father. I felt every word. I ain't about to just bust out a 10, my man on the couch and the camera, I'm gonna hold on to that. But understanding I can connect and attach with that, but being so caught up on words of I'm a man or women, I'm being submissive, like don't hang on to the Webster dictionary of it. Like, understand when we speak and I have a misunderstanding or I don't know, I'm literally submitting my dumb ass self to all of your intelligence. Enlighten me, as my fraternity brother would say. Enlighten me, big brother. Don't say you don't ever know something. Just say enlighten me. And that's just how we got to go about things in life. Like finding you that partner that you can express your emotions with, or tell your day to, or say, hey, honey, you know, you just suck at paying bills. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. Just get it. But you gotta be willing to have that openness and not be so caught up on what other people think. Because at the end of the day, everything we talked about is kind of based off. We were all born into a world that was already operating. None of us, and I say this all the time, there is no rule, but I don't care what religion, what culture you study, there's no definitive book that anybody can go to and say, yeah, when this happens in life, you're supposed to do this.
All right, so let's agree that headship and submission has always been a thing that has existed. So everyone has a different mindset or interpretation of what the story of Adam and Eve is. Regardless if you believe it, don't believe it, what you think about it. But the recovery of eating is, I feel like, is an actual thing. It puts people in a place to kind of take the term submission or the word submission and create their own understanding of it. So it can either be brought to a place where it can become abusive. A person becomes lazy with their headship and be abusive. You can be a person who is settled with the submission as far as like the respect, or you could be a person who's completely against it and kind of bring rejection in regards to submission. So I'm going to close out with 3 little pinpoints, and we're going to share our ideas on those, and that'll be it. So when I talk about submission, the first pinpoint is hypermasculinity. So a person is very hostile, dominant. They're rude and brute to strength. They're like just very aggressive with you listen to me type of thing. Like, why do you guys think that men have that form of feeling like a woman is required to submit with them? Not even just a form of respect, but just the very aggressive, hostile, dominant, I'm the man.
Trauma.
I'm gonna go ahead and let Mike go, then I'm gonna drop it over to Ken and Thaddy.
Oh, I was just saying, like, early traumas, childhood, like, I'd never be like that, making a declaration early that this is how I'm a rock, she gonna listen to me, or, like you said, just seeing your pops do that, or seeing somebody in your family just do that, and it's just innately in you to want that without even having context of what it actually is.
Or sometimes misinterpretation. So you may see, let's say if you was a child growing up inside of Famada's household and you see the dynamics of her parents, you may interpret that completely different than what Famada interpreted as. And you feel as though now I have a woman, I'm going to act in this type of manner, or I'm going to respond in this type of manner because of what you've seen with not like a complete understanding. Like for me and my siblings all grew up in the same household, but we all have a different perspective on what type of parents we have. Some of us have relationships that are closer to others, but for me, my relationship is more of a love you from a distance type of relationship, and it wasn't until I became an adult that I understood that I actually have to move a little forward. And I say that like in a sense of, my mom had me when she was in high school. My dad passed away before he graduated high school. He was shot. So at the time, I'm a child who feeds the attention of their mother, not really understanding that my mother just had a baby as a teenager. She's not able to go to college and do her scholarship that she had. Her high school sweetheart was not only killed. Turns around, he had another baby by somebody else. She's going through a whole bunch of things as a woman that as a child I didn't take into consideration. Not until an adult that I was able to look at it to say, oh, okay, this is my household operated completely different than what I thought it operated as a child. And I feel like the same thing happens when it comes to people wanting to mimic what they see their parents go through. So if it's like, oh, okay, well, my mother never had to pay no bills, I don't got to pay no bills. The fuck? You don't even understand the dynamics of that relationship to feel like you're obligated to live the same lifestyle. But a lot of women who have that mindset of not wanting to pay no bills also are not submissive. So it kind of balances it out. Ken, you had something you wanted to speak on for the hypermasculinity?
You really hit like a lot of pinpoints. It's really about the trauma that you've been through, like past trauma. Really, is molding who you are today. You was born into a family that was mom took care of everything. You was born into a family that dad took care of everything. So it's really your past trauma. Really, is molding who you is.
And like I said, all of us grew up in the same household. All of us are completely different. I decided I do not want to be a product of my environment. So while people be like, oh, you don't smoke weed? Man, that shit was everywhere. Like, I just feel like the type of people, now, weed is a different type of thing that does different type of things to everybody. Right. But the different type, what I seen, I just knew that I didn't like that shit. Now, their weed might have been with something else, but as a child, I don't know what the hell is going on. I just know that that's what that is, and I don't fuck with that shit. Now, my other siblings, they got down and dirty with it. That's for them. But everybody has a different perspective on what they feel. I really felt like, you know what? I'm going to be completely different than all of y'all motherfuckers. All of y'all are crazy. I don't want to be any of that. And as I grew, I seen that even to this day, I have very similar characteristics of everybody who I said I don't want to be like. But it's up to me to determine how I act or respond to those things. So you have to really work on yourself as an individual person and understand what your traumas are, because it may be a point where I need to be submissive to my man, but I'm not, because I have not dealt with whatever that insecurity or that trauma or that negativity is that doesn't allow me to be able to do that.
And real quick on that hypermasculinity thing, I don't know if we aware of it. It's just something like the Marvel comic universe and all that. So growing up, not only is it trauma, it's being reinforced by programming. You know what I'm saying? They say as men, we look up to things we could never be. Superman, Batman, Iron Man. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, as we had these traumas, it's building on the back end these hyper masculine figures. You know what I'm saying? Batman will whoop your ass. Superman, every character we look up to in the MCU will do amazing things, and as a man, we want to be amazing. So young people like, you know what? I'm gonna be Superman, so this girl could like, you know what I'm saying? Some stuff like that. So it's like, you know, we want to be. So like I said, on the back end, it's creating us to want to be great, but we don't know what it takes. So like on the back end of that, hyper masculine, it's not just the trauma end. Like I try not to ever bring a problem without a solution. So not that this is a solution, but just saying, you know what I'm saying, that's good for relationships. Never bring a problem to your person without a solution or a plan to be resolved. So, but I was just saying, building on the back end of hyper masculinity is not just this, I want to be dominant. It's I want to be great as well. You know what I'm saying? I don't never want to be like, I just want to break my woman down. But it's like, I feel so much like Superman. I feel like so much like Batman. I want to be this. Let me be this. Cry for help or a loving gesture.
I agree with that. I want to say a little sidebar. It's a funny thought. Hopefully you guys find it funny. I hate when people feel like they want to say something to their partner that's cheating and you still going to be with them. Don't do shit like that. Like he just said, don't come to the table with a problem, not a solution. If you going to stay, I mean, at this point, let the nigga cheat in peace or the woman cheat in peace, or, you know what I'm saying, be prepared to leave. Because if you know your partner and this is their fourth time cheating, they're going to continue it. So at this point, you stressing everybody the fuck out for no reason. So I just thought that was just something to say in case anybody's going through that. But you know, if you don't have a solution, it's no point of bringing it to.
So
you're not gonna come
about it?
in here coming to your man and like, you know what I'm saying, nigga, you ain't shit. Okay, I ain't shit. What's up?
You gotta fuck him
Like
up.
we all agreeing to I ain't shit. Are we gonna continue to stay in this I ain't shit, or are you leaving? What you gonna do? You gonna go to your mother's house so we can come back? Cool. Like you should just said that, you know, I just need a break. See you. And then come back. Like it's really have some solutions. It's nothing. I'm a devil advocate friend, and it fucks me up because I lose a lot of friends for it. But I really feel like don't come to me with something unless you want me to say something back. So if you want to be the person that wants to come and vent to me, cool. I'm fine to listen, but that ain't me. I'm going to speak. If you coming to me, it's because if we got off the phone and you haven't come up with your own solution, I'm giving you some insight. Don't ever bring to me. A lot of times people think I'm so bubbly, I'm so happy. My cup may look full as fuck, but that doesn't mean that it is. So if you don't have solutions, I definitely think that you should keep your shit to yourself.
True.
All right. So we talked about God's design for submission and how you're just humble, loving, and respecting the roles of leadership. And we kind of just agreed and disagreed a little bit on what that leadership role looks like, if it's just one person or if you alter that leadership. Then I want to talk about my last pinpoint of rejecting masculinity. So being passive and lazy and indifferent. Why do you think men are like that?
It's easy. Passive and lazy.
Passive, lazy, and indifference when it comes to like submission.
It's a lot to be a man. You know what I'm saying? Not saying there's not a lot to be a woman, but you know what I'm saying. A lot of suicides have been men. A lot of majority of men. You know what I'm saying? Take up the percentages for suicides, homelessness, all of this. Okay. So it's very hard to be a man when we have to become, as a man, we have to become. Women are, right? Men have to become. So it's like sometimes they don't want to take that on. You know what I'm saying? And then my partner shared with me. She was like, yo, I think every woman knows, like, we all come into this world as like women. And then in the feet, in the stomach, we become men. You know what I'm saying? So even then, from birth, we're trying to become. Like trying to be Batman, we're trying to become. That's why we end up like fucked up in a way. Because it's like, it's so many ways that we gotta choose to be that it's easy to go the wrong way. So it's very hard to make the decision, the constant decisions that it takes to be seen as a good man or a good partner or a good person.
Go ahead, Mark.
Well, I can attest. I mean, a lot of niggas don't admit this shit. I have gone through my lazy I ain't shit phase, and I can tell you, I say it's easy, but it's so hard being lazy. Like, it's so hard not. It's like hard, like not, cause it took me, cause I'm not. I feel like I wasted like a lot of my youth, like being young, doing shit, like volunteering. I was a Boy Scout, I made it the Eagle Scout. Like I did a lot when I was young, thinking when I was young that you doing all this shit when you young, like it's going to mean something when you 30, 40 years old. I'm 30 fucking 5. I'm gonna tell you right now, nobody gives a shit that I put a bag on their door for a homeless drive all the years that I did. Maybe the homeless do, but like nobody that lives legitimately in my community, like they be asking me, you still work with the Boy Scouts stuff, and I do some things here and there, but like I went through a phase where it's like I didn't want to do nothing for nobody. Like I was late. Like I went through. I'm done. Like I'm done trying to impress women. I'm done looking for this fancy job. Like I took whatever job came, and that shit ain't gonna lie. It sounds sweet, like when I say it's like, but it's so hard being lazy. Like it's you wind up burning. It costs more money to be lazy than it does to go to work. I'm just saying, like it costs more money. Like your lifestyle. I know. I went there. I was lazy before I had a child. I couldn't imagine being lazy with child support and a child. Like fuck no.
Hey, you bring up a good point, bro.
But it's like, it's very, when you look at what life as a man, like even as a young adolescent, just looking forward to hitting 21, or even 18, being an 18-year-old man. That's what, at least in the black families you taught, 18, you know, you on your own, you gotta get out of my house. You know what I'm saying? You just better figure it out. You go to school, you go to the military or something. And you know, fortunately for me, that wasn't like my only options. But I damn sure wasn't trying to go to the military, and I was in school, but if you knew me in high school, you would know that college wasn't, I mean, we made it. Why or how? God's grace. But like, I wasn't the most studious person, but like being lazy and stuff, if I could go back and talk to me or tell me what life would be like, even then, I don't think it would make sense, because living in that moment, like, I commend like we talking about being men and stuff now. I literally salute every young dude out here now that's like grinding, chasing their dreams, getting after this bag. Cause they legitimately grinding and chasing this dream, scamming, legitimacy, like they getting after this bag. Like America, I don't care how you view it. America, I play Red Dead Redemption. It's a scene in Red Dead Redemption. That man said any lying, cheating degenerate can make it in this country. I want you to really look around and look at like some of the billionaires and the successful, your presidents, the Trumps, whoever. Like it's some real grimy, rich people in this country. So it's like to be lazy, it's going to cost you. And I learned late. Like the scamming and stuff these kids is doing. Like it ain't. I'm not saying do. Like my principal told me get out of high school by hook or by crook. I don't want to see you in 2005. So 2004, you out of you graduate somewhere else, but you won't be coming back here.
Damn.
So it's like, for me, like all the shit I did when I was younger, it put me in a young adult life of myself of being lazy. But it's because it's so hard, like the pressures of what people telling me I need to be. Or you ain't shit if you ain't got this type of job, or you ain't making this type of money. And I didn't get that type of job, and I didn't make that type of money. It's up to me to fucking build myself up to get up every day and smile and make jokes with people and act like that shit ain't tearing me up on the inside. But these are things that men, and I say every man they might not admit that they went through or going through. But I went through a phase of not having that money and not wanting it. And then realizing, you costing somebody else in your family some bread because you can't feed yourself. You won't fill out a damn food stamp application. It's not like you can be broke. The government got money for you. But there's people out here that won't even take the steps to feed themselves. And they give you government assistance with that. So it's hard. It's it's not a hard thing to fall into. Because society for a man, I'm not just saying just in America, it probably anyway. Being a man, you either expected to be something you're not. It's a lot of men out here acting tough, ain't got a tough bone in their body. Like the day somebody pull their card is the last day they walk on earth.
So you bring back up to the point that we talked about, like the functionality of a man and making sure that you're in a place to be able to support yourself as well as your dependents, regardless if they're their child or not.
I wanted to bring up a good point, man, because it's like sometimes when I see things that I can't pass it. So you were saying things you've done as a kid, it don't seem to matter, but you know what I'm saying? I'm called the mind mode because it's like I've been thinking my whole life. So it's like until we learn how to use what we already done, you know what I'm saying, it can give us direction. So it's like this. I've been shooting basketball since I was young, right? So it's like I put 10,000 hours in. They call that mastery. Yep. Why not put that into a course, which they do today for free, put it out there, and then maybe, just maybe, somebody will want to be like, hey, teach me how to shoot. And then buy the course. So it's like, if we...
No, I'm saying, no, you making a... I ain't trying to cut you off.
If we as men realize, like, you know, it's that Mr. Miyagi shit, right? It's like the lesson has always been in the beginning instead of the end. But if we never realize it, we can never use it to our advantage. So it's like, you know, that's part of the group as well, the mental health. You know what I'm saying? I love that. You a part of that, bro. You a part of that, bro. Everybody, all the men in here. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, as we realize what we've done as men, we put 10,000 hours on the field, on the court, on thinking. You know what I'm saying? It's like we think different. You know what I'm saying? In our classrooms, you make people laugh. You know what I'm saying? It's like you could teach somebody something from what you've done. Put 10,000 hours in. You know what I'm saying? That's from the book from Malcolm Gladwell. 10,000 hours means you are a master. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, bro, we lived more than 10,000 hours. I calculated. I lived 1 billion seconds. I'm 35. You 35. You lived 1 billion seconds, bro. All of them seconds don't mean nothing. Let's put it in something.
Well, I would like to say this concludes our episode of Society's Idea of a Man versus What a Man Is. I'm thankful for everyone who participated. I hope that, you know, after this conversation, get a little insight. Some of you guys, relationship goals, hashtag, are not the same. That you kind of have a different dynamic of what it is that you look forward to in your relationships. That each man here has a different perspective, and hopefully you guys were able to take something to be able to be inspired by and continue to grow and evolve. Us as women, hopefully you guys heard some things that if you like me and you try and figure out, you know, continue to figure out who you are as a woman, what you want in a man, that you're hearing some of these things to know what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, and seeing those red flags before you move into a relationship, making sure that you understand your goal before that relationship starts. And if those flags, regardless if they're green or red, don't align with your end goal, you know what I'm saying, let that man go. He may not be a bad man, but just not the man for you. But thank you, everybody, for participating.